Cyber Uncut. Discover the changing face of business, government and national security as Australia navigates the cyber revolution.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are listening to the Cyber Uncut podcast. Welcome back this week. My name is David Hollingworth. I am the Deputy Editor of Cyber Daily, and I'm joined by Daniel Croft, my esteemed colleague.
Hello.
How you doing?
Not bad.
Has it been another one of those weeks?
No, it's actually been all right. It's been okay. Very busy. Just organising stuff for a show for my new band. Our
New
debut.
band?
Yes.
New band?
Yes.
Do tell. Like a little quick 60-second blurb.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a band. It's Super Hands. It's kind of the brainchild of mostly my mate, but him and I at the core of it. And then we've got some other amazing members as well, who are contributing tons. I don't want to underplay how much they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's very much kind of alternate fuzz punk, if you know, like Ty Segall, Viagra Boys.
I don't know who any of those people are.
Some people
I've
might.
never felt so old in my entire life.
And because my mate and I have both had quite a lot of experience playing in bands.
Yeah,
and we know the whole rigmarole of, starting a new band and all of that comes with that. So we thought, right, we're going to do this differently and more explosively. We really played the whole Instagram algorithm thing.
Oh, yep.
Which we've got to get back to doing. But instead of just your standard, let's go play, crappy little pub gig, opening for another band as our debut. Instead, we're starting what will hopefully be an annual mini festival in the inner west of Sydney. So we've got 5 bands on the lineup.
Yeah.
And we'll be playing at Botany View. This isn't me trying to shill the
No,
gig.
but the Botany View. No,
Botany View
I'm
Hotel.
genuinely interested. That's
Yeah,
that's walking distance for me.
Yeah, Botany View Hotel on April 4th. So the Easter long weekend. And, I might as well. Tickets are like $17.50.
Dive in. Go the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
You're
$17.50. And unless you pay at the door, where there'll be slightly more.
Excellent, excellent. You're listening to Band Connect here on the Cyber Uncut podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm just using our platform as a marketing tool.
And why shouldn't you? Okay, before we piss off our audience too much, let's dive into news. And we actually have something nice to say about the Commonwealth Bank and AI this week, don't we?
Well, I think it's nice.
Yeah.
I think it's good. So Commonwealth Bank continuing their AI push. That's not the positive thing. But what they've done is they've developed 2 AI agents, which they say will be good for bolstering their cybersecurity capabilities, which we love. So IT News originally reported this, as far as I'm aware, but CBA General Manager of Cyber Defense Operations and Security Integration, Andrew Pade, spoke at Gartner Security and Risk Management Summit.
Yep.
And there are 2 agentic AI. The first is for active threat hunting.
Oh,
which is really, really, really interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
So, being referred to as the Threat Hunt Agent, as very, very apt name.
Yeah.
It is responsible for creating hypotheses and theories that can be followed up by investigation before a cyber incident occurs. So it'll search applications and environments for potential threats, and then go back to the analyst and go, might want to have a look at this. And then the analyst can come up with some actions in response to that.
Yeah. I mean, textbook case of how AI is being used in cybersecurity, right?
Yeah. It's nothing new, but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
According to the bank, the threat hunt agent now deals with as much as 70% of the work that its security analysts were previously tasked with doing.
Yeah.
These tasks also took usually a couple of days. They now take 30 minutes.
Yeah. So you're dealing with lowering burnout, lowering alert fatigue, all of that stuff. It just lets the human in the loop do their job better and more thoroughly.
It is. These are really, really complex environments. Big businesses and banks.
I mean, just think of all the daily transactions happening in CommBank.
Well, there's that, but they've also got a bunch of different third parties, which I don't know if they can be screened by CBA actively like that.
It's a complex environment.
They've got lots of different layers to their environment, and it's it's like needle in a haystack stuff. So having these tools that can just do it while the analyst can just concentrate on other things is a great thing. Now, the second one is more for kind of intel and stuff like that. So it is being referred to as the response agent. So it will collect and collate data and provide context to analysts to say, hey, this is a bit suspicious. This this could be an indication of malware or compromisation. And other sorts of hacker activity. So Page said, when you think about your blue teams, there's a general flow of detection, triage, analysis, and response. I don't know if people have seen what analysts do, but it's quite monotonous, and it's not just packaged beautifully for them to go and do the triage. They actually have to work it and build that context.
Yeah.
Our AI response agent builds that for them and lays it out for them. So together, these two bots have apparently reduced response time. Page added, the AI agent's interrogating what it's seen in the past, not just what's happening now, builds that story, forecasts where it's going to go next, and puts it in front of the analyst. So, yeah, it's a good thing. The data science team is now working, obviously, very closely with the cyber team.
Yep, and clearly it's not replacing anyone either.
They've been quite core about that. So, Pate actually said, how do I ensure all of our analysts are still working in cyber in 20 years' time, not regretting joining a 24/7 always-on function. To do that, we have to introduce a different way of working and to leverage some AI capabilities.
Okay, I mean, I applaud that. That is
too.
both clear-eyed in the advantages that AI bring, but also acknowledges those advantages extend to your workforce and in keeping your workforce.
Yes.
So, bravo CBA. We don't say that a lot.
No, we don't.
Bravo CBA.
Credit where credit's due.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, bravo on that. Having reported on their AI over the last 6 months.
Experiments.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move on, but we're still talking AI, of course, and we know AI is used in cybersecurity. We know it's used by banks. We know bad guys are using it, but it's also used in the defense of our nation because the ADF has just outlined its AI, what it calls its AI responsibilities.
Yeah, its obligations.
So what are its responsibilities and obligations in the use of AI?
So I actually, when I was writing the story this morning, I spoke to Steve Cooper from Defence Connect, the editor of Defence Connect.
Well, the lead, if you call him editor, he'll get angry because he's not a journalist, damn it.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
the
he's
lead, the chief,
the analyst,
the captain.
Yes.
So I was asking him how many militaries around the world are actually using AI in defense decision-making. And of course, I don't mean autonomously. I mean, advising to help people make decisions. And he actually didn't have a number for me. Now, we know the US is doing it.
Yeah, and I think because I was part of that conversation as well, I think the consensus was probably most first world nations are in some way.
I'd say there's at least a large proportion of them that are.
Yeah.
So Australia is obviously looking to do the same. So it released a release called Policy Settings for Responsible Use of Artificial Intelligence in Defense. Again, another very apt title.
It says what it does in the tin,
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty much outlining the reasoning behind why it wants to use AI.
Mm-hmm.
Not super specifically, having read through it, but it does.
Yeah.
And how it plans to ensure that the use of the Let me try that again. The use of that technology is safe and responsible.
Yep.
So they kind of go through quite a lot in this. So the ADF said the strategic and operational environments in which the Australian Defence Force and the Department of Defence operate are becoming increasingly challenging. The 2024 National Defence Strategy recognised that increasing strategic competition is a primary feature of Australia's security environment. AI and other new emerging technologies are becoming an integral feature of this strategic competition. As a general-purpose technology, AI is permeating government and commercial institutions, infrastructure, products, and services. They then go on to talk about the benefit it has across society and how this can apply. I'm not just going to read the whole release. So the kind of tasks it's planning the technology for are decision support, as I was saying. This means analysing massive amounts of data so you have context for these decisions, like we were just talking about with CBA.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking on tasks that might be, one, monotonous and repetitive, but also dangerous. Like if you're needing to analyse things in the field or document things in the field, it'd be better to have a technology that can do that rather than putting a human being at risk.
True.
Optimising logistics, applying autonomy to operations to make them more effective, fast, accurate, and of course just improving safety in both physical and cyber.
I mean, this makes a lot. The modern battlefield is so data driven.
Yes,
I think not a lot of people understand just how many data points are coming into your average officer or commander at any given time. I mean, you've got drones in the air, you've got satellite information, sometimes individual units and infantry even are connected into the wider net. So you've just got all of this data. How do you collate it into a package that someone way up the chain of command can go, here is this volume of data. What can I pick out of it?
Yeah,
And that's where the AI comes in. But of course, that's the benefits of AI. It's also going to be used responsibly. And I believe that's also something that the ADF is addressing here.
That's actually kind of what they spoke about even more.
Yeah.
So the first point they had was that the AI usage would be compliant with both domestic and international law.
Yep.
This means humanitarian and human rights legislation. They've also mentioned that there'd be accountable officers responsible for those AI capabilities. So it wrote, as the AI capability moves through the life cycle, the accountable officer will change. However, all officials will remain accountable for the decisions or contributions they made in any stage and for their contribution to the development or use of the AI. As the accountable officer changes during the technology lifecycle, for example, when an AI capability moves from acquisition to introduction to service, the transfer of accountability must be documented. I love all of that.
It's like a chain of evidence, right?
It is, yeah. So, if something does go wrong, they're not going to go, well, it's technology's fault. They can move down the line and go, this is where
quite
this
interesting.
went wrong.
Back in my print media days, and especially early on in my career, when magazines were like 150 odd pages and you had like 20 people working on them. There was this idea of the job bag, right? And you'd have a cover sheet which would have all the stages and every person who'd been through that, from the initial writing of the article through to the subbing of the printout through to the first thing. You could look at that job sheet at any given stage, work out who had looked at something to work out, you let that mistake through. That's where it happened. And then everybody else after that. It's the same kind of thing. It's just accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's not like they're out to get anyone. It's just that, we've seen all too often with AI that people are evading blame.
And it's a bit of a black box.
It is, yeah.
Data goes in, something comes out, whatever happens in the middle is, I don't know.
Not only, it's not about punishing people, I don't think. I think it's largely about going, where did we go wrong?
Accountability is not punishment.
Yeah, exactly. I love all of this. They also mentioned they've got these ethical principles that they want to follow.
Yep.
So this is accountability, bias, harm mitigation, explainability of inputs and outputs, which again I love.
Yeah.
Reliable and secure use cases, and a human-centric approach. It's all great.
Yeah.
Will abide by the Geneva Conventions and review all weapons and means of warfare. Obviously, AI implementation can fall under that. And then, of course, applying risk-based control measures in line with consequences and unintended outcomes. So it's pretty solid.
It seems pretty complete.
It is, yeah. And like, I know, seeing as we said, there's a lot of governments, a lot of military, doing this already.
Yeah.
We hopefully will learn from the mistakes made by others. That's the benefit of doing something.
I would say not
later.
even the mistakes, but sometimes the choices
made
by others.
Yes.
I think we've spoken in the past in this podcast about, say, how the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, uses AI in its decision-making processes, and that is a little bit ropier, shall we say. And the fact that the ADF is talking about bias and harm mitigation makes me feel really confident. Yeah. Because the biases that go into AI models can really influence the outcome.
Yeah. That, what was the one? Explainability of inputs and outputs.
Yeah, bingo.
Great. And then also mentioning of international law, federal Australian law, and the Geneva Conventions.
Yeah.
Like all things I like to see. So pretty happy
AI
with this
can be
release.
A massive force multiplier on the battlefield, both on it and in command of it.
Yeah.
And it's great to see the ADF really looking deeply in how we can use it best within the Australian context. So bravo, ADF.
We've done our good news at the beginning.
There's some good news at the end, I
there
promise.
Is. Yes, there
but
is.
But for now, we're going to take a break and come back with the inevitable bad news. Chat soon. And we are back on the Cyber Uncut podcast. He's Dan. I'm David. All right. Okay. So we're going to the bad news, and this one's pretty.
It is
pretty
bad.
intense.
It has kind of a good ending.
Okay, it does. I mean, we've got a full life cycle of cyber incident here.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a cyber incident affecting a medical technology firm called Stryker. These guys have offices around the world. They've got an office here in, I think, somewhere in Sydney. They got hit by a pro-Iran, pro-Palestinian, probably Iran-linked hacking group by the name of Handala hack team, and they got hit hard, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So, look, I'll start with Stryker's statement. So they released a statement saying it was experiencing a global network disruption to its Microsoft environment as a result of a cyber attack. While there was no indication of ransomware or malware, They said that they believe the incident is contained. They were still investigating. So the cyber attack, as you mentioned, was claimed by Handala. So, we've written about these guys before. They are pretty no holds barred.
They are serious. Like, these guys target Mossad officials.
Yeah, they do.
Like, these guys aren't playing around.
They post footage that they claim is of the houses of Mossad members and stuff like that. So I actually had a chat with the CEO of Threat Locker, Danny Jenkins, and he kind of provided some guidance on how businesses should act in this kind of context. So he said, while the details of how this attack unfolded are currently unknown, the two most common attack vectors of attacks on private sector organizations are malware, credential theft via phishing, or a combination of the two. Once inside an organization, attackers will move laterally within systems to achieve their goals. In this case, disruption appears to be the motivation, but other attacks often include data encryption or exfiltration. So this is all like kind of boilerplate stuff, but it's really worth knowing. Touching on that kind of disruption, Handala, that's what they do. We've reported on them targeting a number of Israeli entities over last year and the year before, perhaps even. When Iran was bombed last year, Handala carried a massive wave of attacks targeting Israeli organizations. So this is not new. This is not new at all.
The scale, however, because
pretty huge.
Handala's now made some more claims. They say it's not about data exfiltration, but data erasure. Handala is claiming to have wiped 12 petabytes of data from Strikers.
Tens of thousands of devices, I've heard.
Yeah. Now, Stryker has said that all of its devices deployed out there around the world are still operating. They even went so far as to say it is safe to have Stryker representatives on site. It is safe to call up your Stryker sales rep. So obviously they're dealing with a lot of fear out there in the marketplace, but they have been hit and hit hard. And I would say this is a wake-up call for any organization that might think it is safe from this element of cyber warfare, what's happening in Iran. No, you're really not. Because if Handala has any kind of a foothold in your network, they will take advantage of it.
They will. I've actually just seen here, this is something I actually hadn't seen yet.
Yeah.
Reuters has actually reported that surgeries are actually being delayed.
Yeah.
And, we've spoken long about, one of the most horrific cases of encryption or ransomware or things that really debilitate a business from a cyber attack, and healthcare is a big one. It's literally where cyber attacks turn into life or death situations. Now, obviously, I don't know the context of these surgeries. These could be cosmetic for all I know. These could be a lot more mild or less not important.
Regardless, it's a delayed surgery.
It is, it is. And Stryker is a US-based company. Yes, they have offices all over the world, but with the price of medical care and surgery in the US, I wouldn't want any delays.
Yeah, and I think there's another follow-up comment here, this time from Josh Lifkowitz, CEO of cybersecurity firm Flashpoint. He called this whole thing a troubling shift in offensive cyber operations, and troubling is putting it lightly.
Yeah.
As he said, rather than targeting hospitals or frontline healthcare providers directly, adversaries may focus on critical suppliers and logistics providers, where disruption can cascade through the entire healthcare ecosystem. Thus, the delayed surgeries. A single intrusion at a key node in the supply chain has the potential to create widespread operational impact far beyond the initial target. And this is exactly what Handala wants.
Yeah.
It's it's terrifying.
It's a big old mess.
It's a big old mess. But the fact is, I know observers already said this should be yet another wake-up call to the Australian healthcare sector. Yes, it should be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Secure your supply chains now. Make sure all your credentials are protected. MFA, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Now more than ever is the time to do that.
Yes.
Moving on from Stryker, and we're getting closer to home with another healthcare issue. This one... grimly amusing, amusingly grim.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it.
It's one of those cases where, even threat actors sometimes have a sense of humor.
Yeah, so take it away.
Yeah, this one's actually a little bit older. This actually happened last month. I think a lot of media was kind of late to the party on this one. But Medimap.
Yeah.
It's a New Zealand-based medication management software firm. Mm-hmm. So they provide services to aged care, disability,
and again, there we go, that third
hospice.
party. It's part of the supply chain.
It is, yeah. So last month, staff at an aged care facility were left unsure of what medication to give their patients, which is really dark.
That's,
So pharmacists resorted to manual systems and paper, according to some reports. What had happened was a cyber attack. And getting on to the funny part, because none of this has been funny so far.
Grimly amusing. Let's just be there. Yep.
So what people noticed when they were looking through records, trying to figure out what medication to give people in hospice and aged care, was that a lot of the names had been changed to Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk, assassinated last year.
Infamous political activist.
USA. Right-wing activist. And what's the motivation? Do we have any idea of the motivation here?
From memory, there isn't really one.
Because I'm like, it could be argued, like, are you pro Charlie Kirk and you wanted to memorialize Charlie Kirk somehow by making everyone Charlie Kirk?
We are Charlie Kirk.
Or are you coming from another angle where I just don't know. This one's strange.
It is strange.
Obviously malicious and obviously damaging.
Yeah, massively.
But such a weird cyber hill to die on.
It is a weird one. I will add as well, he also changed the status of quite a number of the patients, not necessarily the same ones, to deceased.
Oh.
Yeah, so a lot of them were marked as that they'd passed away when they hadn't. So...
Okay, that's not even grimly amusing. That's just grim.
It is really grim. But yeah, people were panicking because medication was not being administered. This is like, some of this medication is like heart pressure, blood pressure. Like things that could kill someone if they're not taken. It puts a lot of patients at risk. Now, Medimap has not actually issued a statement on this.
Okay.
Not that I saw anyway. I had quite a search. But Health New Zealand did. So Health New Zealand Digital Service Acting Chief Information Technology Officer, Darren Douglas, said it was in contact with Medimap and was supporting its response. Similarly, Disability Support Services New Zealand also issued a statement saying it was working with Health New Zealand over the incident. Now, strangely, while the identity of the individual who launched this breach is not known, they did send an email to several publications with an alleged sample of the data stolen.
Oh, okay.
But they then said that they decided that they wouldn't be pursuing anything further against Medimap and its patients, and said that they deleted all the data permanently.
Okay.
Now, media publications have been unable to independently confirm who it was.
Yeah.
And there's no sign that the stolen data was released beyond the emails that were sent to media. But in those emails, the hacker used the names of political figures, including Deputy Prime Minister and ACT leader David Seymour.
Yep.
They also said that the breach was not politically or financially motivated, but they didn't explain why they did it. And at the end of one email, they wrote, "Goodbye for now. We are Charlie Kirk."
I got nothing.
It's confusing.
It's so confusing.
What?
Like, why?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, political motivation seems likely because Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Financial motivation seems likely because data was stolen. But
they're not extorting anyone.
But they're not. They apparently deleted the data.
This sounds like, I don't know, baby's first hacktivism.
Yeah, it sounds like someone's gone, I need to back out of this.
So
I think there may have been a motivation that they've ditched.
Yeah, could be.
That's my thought. But it is a really weird one we will keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we're going to find out anything more, but we will be keeping
Charlie
an eye
Kirk.
on it.
You may see that on a network soon, close to you.
Yeah.
Who knows? Okay, so moving on. Here's... Eagle-eyed listeners last week may have noticed that the podcast went through a little bit of an edit. From initial publication, and an hour later, an entire segment was edited out. So Dan and I last week talked about the Hazeldene's hack. Victorian chicken supplier, hit by a cyber incident. A lot of the systems went offline. The pubs without Parmesanas. Horrible.
The worst thing ever.
We talked about the threat actor, we talked about the data that had been released, and within hours, we got hit with a massive injunction, and oh boy, did the lawyers come after me big time.
I got a call saying, hey, we're trying to get in contact with David.
Because I went on leave, like, immediately after.
Yeah, you'd left, you were feeling a little bit ill.
Like, you
had a day off the next day. And I'd gotten a call, and they said, hey, is David in the office? And I went, no, he's actually feeling a little crook. He's gone home.
Yeah.
And they said, we're trying to get in contact with him. there's an injunction.
Yeah.
And I will say one thing about injunctions before we touch on everything else. What I do hate is that when an injunction is made and it's not immediately publicly advertised that there's an injunction.
Or
and
even we're told.
it needs to be done after the fact so that we seem like bad people.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not what we're doing. We just didn't know.
So I spent Thursday afternoon and a lot of Friday dealing with the fallout of this.
On your day off.
Day off, feeling a little bit under the weather.
Surely you can maybe refund that day off.
I should chat to Lee about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we couldn't talk about the threat actor. We can't name the threat actor.
No.
Even though there are threat feeds all over the internet that do list it, except for Ransomware Live, who clearly got served.
Yes.
We can't talk about the data that was involved again. This week, we discovered another local incident. Fairfield City Council got hacked. And the only reason I even noticed that they got hacked was I was trawling through court records and I found their court documents about the incident and the injunction they got. Now, as I said, and you saw the post on LinkedIn I made, it seems like a really smart thing to do, right?
Yeah.
You hit, you take out an injunction. It probably looks great in print. You're doing all you can to protect the data of yourself and your customers. But really, the bad guys don't give a single damn about this kind of stuff.
They've just committed a major crime and done horrendous damage to your business. I don't think they're going to be caring about breaching an injunction. Now, obviously, that's not why injunctions are gotten.
No. It's due diligence. I really can see the side of it.
Me
but
too.
On the other side, it hurts. It stops you and I from doing good, honest reporting.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly stops analysts from accessing the data to work out what's going on here. I don't know how I feel about injunctions at all. I don't think I like them.
I'm not a fan of it. And look, don't get me wrong, not all journalists are honest reporters. This isn't me trying to chalk us up, but we've written about publications that have ambulance chased and doom and gloomed stories that aren't as bad as they are, or really made victims out to be the problem.
Yep.
And obviously we're not behind that. We think that's like really, really low hanging fruit, low blow kind of stuff. And I get wanting to stop that.
Yeah.
But as a publication that I like to think reports on a lot of the wins of these businesses as they build back up after these terrible crimes, it does dampen that ability.
It does.
You know?
And in when it comes to Fairfield City Council, even they have mentioned in their own disclosure notice the data that's involved, names, addresses, that kind of stuff. So they're not trying to hide that. The Hazeldene's injunction is one of the most severe I've come across.
Yeah.
In terms of not even being able to mention the threat actor.
Yeah, that's when you said that, I was like, oh, that's
really
hardcore.
That's wild. And it is frustrating given that there are sites out there that do have it, but they're not in our jurisdiction. So we look as though we're not reporting properly compared to other outlets and other intelligence sources out there. And it's just it's just a little frustrating.
And it is a shame because these are law firms that we work with semi-regularly.
We do quite closely. Yeah.
When that lawyer called me, I've actually got the number saved, and
Yeah,
they even said, "Oh, it's so and so from so and so," and I went, "I know, I've got your
we're
contact. You've
buddies."
obviously got mine. It's all good."
Yeah. And it's quite weird to get a really friendly phone call, like, oh yeah, and it's just like it's two professionals working together friendly. But then you get the email, and it's literally like, we're sending the attack dogs to you now, and we'll call them off only if and when you do this thing we need you to do.
The first time I got one of those emails, it did scare me a little bit because I got the lawyers after me. But it's really not that bad. It's really them just going.
You get really blasé about it.
Yeah.
Like I'll be at home working from home, and I'm on a phone call. My partner like, oh, was that? Oh, just the lawyers.
Yeah, it's like I've the same thing. I've said that to my partner and just been like, "Oh, I've had lawyers chase me up today," and she's like, "Really?" I'm like,
mind you, last week trying to get the podcast edited, I may have come across a little bit panicky in the AV chat. Like, no, seriously, I need to know when this is done so I can tell the lawyers they can get off my back.
Yeah. It's more a thing of it's not about, oh God, it's going to be big consequences. It's more a thing of this needs to be done quickly.
I just want to know it's done.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This just needs to get done.
But yeah, so if you'd noticed that edit last week, that's why. And also the Fairfield Council hack. That's a fascinating one. No threat actor has yet taken responsibility for it. It happened last October.
Actually, no, you said it was a last year thing.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we, we spot this stuff by following all the various threat feeds that we use, ransomware.live being the main one. Fairfield City Council has not been mentioned on a single one of these feeds.
No.
I would never have found it if I hadn't been just curiously going through court documents.
Well, that was the same with Medimap. That was literally one that I saw a story posted very recently about.
Yeah.
It wasn't on any of the threat feeds. It wasn't widely reported at the time.
Yeah.
All those statements are that old, though.
And the
that was a
Fairfield,
missed point
Fairfield
on my
City
part.
Council one's very interesting because on their disclosure notice, they talk about a cyber incident, the data that's impacted, all that kind of boilerplate. But it's only the court papers, which are publicly available, which refer to the fact that it was a ransomware attack, that data was encrypted, and it was data both on multiple sites of theirs and on a New South Wales-based data centre.
Yeah.
All of which got encrypted. So clearly a ransomware actor. I do wonder, has the injunction actually worked? The one time it might, and it's going to make me swallow my words.
This argument we've just made against them.
Hate injunctions. What if this one worked? Oh,
Yeah.
Or will we see it cross one of our threat feeds in the coming weeks?
Yeah.
I don't know. Another thing that was laid out in the court papers quite clearly, Fairfield City Council did not pay a ransom and did not pay any money to the threat actor at all. Bravo. That's the way you do it. But yeah, really, really, really interesting. Very interesting to read through the injunction, the actual court papers as well, and the references to precedent. HWL Ebsworth was mentioned, Ansell was mentioned, a whole mess of things you and I have been reporting on over the last 12 months as well, is now becoming part of case law when it comes to...
Well, it would.
Yeah, exactly. And whether or not courts and court justices consider injunctions to be a useful tool, and at the moment it's looking like it's leaning towards the fact that injunctions are a useful tool.
We should talk about this with the team at Lawyers Weekly.
We absolutely should.
Because I'd be really, really interested to see their take on not only injunctions, but the changing state of precedent in law and case studies.
Well, that's one to put into notes. Absolutely. We'll get them on. We'll get...
This may happen.
We should get Naomi on.
We should.
She's our gun court reporter from Lawyers
She's
Weekly.
awesome.
She is incredible.
Yeah.
Might be the reason I was going through those court papers, because she gave us a fantastic breakdown on exactly how to use them.
Yeah, that was really good.
Ironically, we're using Jade, which you and I are familiar with from previous incidents that shall not be talked about. And on that note, let's go to a break. Daniel and I will be back very, very shortly. Welcome back to the Cyber Uncut podcast. We are now in the rundown to the end. We're trying sometimes grasp for good news, but this time I think we actually have some...
We've got...
Well, we have one definitely good news, and we'll start off with the one which is mostly amusing. All right, so we've been talking recently about the fact that age verification is now a big buzzword in Australia, not just for under 16-year-olds, but if you want to look at anything challenging the internet, you now need to prove that you're over 18, that you're an adult, and you're allowed to look at things like pornography. And we've talked about Pornhub, for instance. They have a unique take to dealing with this by simply going, not doing it.
Yep.
Hope you like podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
And unboxing
videos. Yeah.
But in the wake of that, funnily enough, actually this is good news. Good news for VPN operators, because suddenly everybody wants a VPN.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some VPNs that were hovering around, number 40 on app lists, number 5 overnight. Yeah. So the VPN companies are making out like you would not believe. And I can't say I'm surprised.
I'm not surprised at all. This was always going to happen. There are two horrible side effects of something like this. One, people move away from the sites that are safe and regulated to sites that aren't safe and regulated. I was talking about this downstairs the other day. The Louis Theroux documentary. The new one, the Into the Manosphere of whatever it's called.
Yeah, terrifying.
And we were talking about the social media ban and
driving
kids
people to 4chan.
Being pushed to these darker places of the web.
Yep.
It's the same here, where people are then just going to move to places that aren't regulated and potentially have illegal content on them.
Yeah.
But VPNs, well, the better of the two evils, just completely disregards the law.
Oh yeah,
and I've lost for words. I'm lost for words. I'm shocked.
He's shocked. He's shocked and appalled. According to Professor Michael Cowling of RMIT University School of Computing and Technologies, what we're seeing here in Australia with VPN uptake matches what we've seen overseas. We've seen it in the UK, for instance, huge
Well, they were the
spike
first
in
to do this
VPNs.
age verification stuff.
Evidence from other countries, Cowling said, suggests introducing age gating inevitably drives adoption of VPNs. Whether this is a privacy protection measure or a way to circumvent societal rules is hard to imagine. It's likely a combination of both. While some might think that it's under 18s using the services, it's also likely individuals who value their privacy and don't want to share their identification details with adult-oriented websites. Which, yeah, absolutely. Because the more data you share, sure, they'll say they only use it once, but you've got no guarantee of that. You're just giving your passport or whatever ID document over to an entity which isn't even in Australia's jurisdiction.
I mean, under Australian legislation, any data used for age verification needs to be deleted immediately after the verification. But we don't know that happens. There's no verification that actually happens. You know, I've got friends who are deeply concerned with how that data is used.
Yeah.
You know, we already know that data that you never would have imagined is being used for AI training. Captures, for example.
Yes.
Did you? I didn't know this until yesterday. Google bought Capture. And when it's asking you to verify traffic lights and things like that, that goes towards training for autonomous cars.
That's what a traffic looks like. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I like that it's a tool designed so that machines can't pass it, but we're training the tool, the machines to pass it.
Oh, that seems a bad move.
But things like that, the concerns of where this data will go, not only used legally, but also, well, not legally, because you'd be breaching that first bit of legislation I spoke about, but used kind of above board versus if there's a cyber attack and that data goes. Because we know people retain data, or businesses retain data longer than they should. It happens all the time.
We see it all the time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Data retention is a massive issue.
Because I was trying to make this at least vaguely amusing news, and now we're getting all grim about it. And I'm going to continue to get grimmer. I promise something vaguely uplifting is coming.
Yeah.
The issues with VPNs as well is you don't know what they're using your data for.
Exactly.
Because there are some that use those records and data to sell on to other people.
That's why there's a bunch of free VPNs, which I'm guessing are going to be some of the most popular.
And even those free VPNs could end up being the source for malware themselves. We see malware being distributed via VPNs quite often. And if you're now relying upon something to place between you and your service, you're opening yourself to man-in-the-middle attacks.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of risk with using VPNs. However, it goes to show that whenever you try and put a barrier in front of someone, they'll find a way around it.
It's the war on drugs.
It's the war on drugs.
It's the war on online
war
porn.
On drugs, absolutely. I know whose side I'm on. However, one person's side or one group's side I'm not on is that of the hackers. And thankfully, the EU is making, well, not arrests, but sanctioning a whole tranche of two Chinese companies, two Chinese individuals, and one Iranian company, all for their attacks on various entities within the European Union. And what I found interesting about this one is, again, I would never even have known that the EU was doing this, except for the fact that Australian representatives came out of the woodwork to go, yes,
bravo,
go you guys.
Yeah.
Australia's National Cybersecurity Coordinator, Lieutenant General Michelle McGuinness, said, I joined my colleagues across the Australian government in supporting the imposition of sanctions by the EU in response to malicious cyber activity behind significant compromises of devices. The scale and severity of malicious activity in the online domain remains an increasing concern. Australia is committed to promoting a rules-based cyberspace. I always like the way people like that still refer to it as cyberspace.
Yeah.
No one else does.
Yeah.
Not even me, and I'm a cyber nerd.
Yeah.
Grounded in international law and norms of responsible behaviour. Now, she was responding to Australia's cyber ambassador, Jessica Hunter, who said Australia supports the EU in calling out malicious cyber activity behind significant compromises of devices and defensive cyber espionage. This malicious activity threatens the stability and predictability of cyberspace. There you go again, cyberspace.
Yep.
Australia calls on all cyber actors to act responsibly. Okay, I mean, you want to do that, but also they're probably not going to. And for all states to act in accordance with international law and the norms of responsible state behaviour in cyberspace.
That is a weird comment. It's like, criminals, we encourage you not to do crime.
Be better.
Yeah.
State-sponsored hackers, don't
do that.
Yeah, and of course the fact that an Iranian entity has been sanctioned here by the EU, it brings into everything we're seeing right now in response to the fighting in Iran.
Context.
Oh God, there goes the good news aspect again.
Yippee!
Yippee!
We tried.
we tried really, really hard. Because we are seeing, in the same way that we're seeing Iran lash out at countries throughout the region, we're seeing Handala showing exactly how much reach hacktivism and nation-state actors have. You don't need to just act within whatever range your ballistic missiles or drones can reach. truly the world is your malicious oyster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, God. Do we have anything happy to say?
I don't think so. They were the two best bets.
And look what we did. Look what we did to our two happy
Maybe
stories.
we're the ones that make things
Maybe
depressing.
we're the problem.
Yeah.
Well, the problem won't be yours much longer, dear listeners. That's it for us today. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Hey, we've done a whole podcast, just you and I. No guests.
Yeah, for
No
a
intermediaries.
first time in a long
This could be
time.
the first time this year, maybe the second or third.
Yeah, it's definitely, one of
Yeah.
the top 5 podcasts meeting that criteria because there's been less than that.
I know, it's been a crazy time. Anyway, as I was saying, thank you for listening. You can find both of us on Cyber Daily. You can find Dan on AI Daily as well. Both of our sites have newsletters. You should absolutely sign up to them. You can find us on LinkedIn and other social media. Comment on any of these stories. Do you think what we say is drivel? Do you like what we say? Let us know. We love hearing your feedback, even if it is negative. We prefer the good stuff. We really do prefer the good stuff.
I do, yeah.
And we'll be back next week. No, wait, we do have some good news. If you like cybersecurity,
yes.
if you like what we do, end of April, we have the Australian Cyber Summit, and following that in the evening, we have the Australian Cyber Awards coming up. This is a fantastic day of cyber. Daniel and I will be present. Our boss, Lynn, will be there. All of our colleagues will be there, and a lot of industry greats.
Yeah.
Last year's Cyber Summit was incredible, and this year we
was.
have a special guest ex-FBI agent as
We
one of the
do.
headline speakers.
Yeah.
Over the coming weeks, we'll be outlining more of what's coming up in the event, but let me tell you now, you want to get in early, you want to get your tickets, it's going to be a great day. And on that note, I think it's time to go away.
I think it is.
All right, thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye-bye.